Okay, so I guess we're live now. Take two, take two. That's lovely. That is lovely. All right, I'm reclaiming my chair, kicking the cat out, and we are back with another YouTube live stream. I had mistakenly gone live without actually checking and did a few minutes there all by myself, a rehearsal, if you will. So what did we cover? Well, I gave the exact roadmap as to GameStop's future, and you've missed it. Just kidding. We've seen GameStop pulling back, right? And that's to the 200, which is kind of what we were expecting, and even potentially down to the 50, right? If it breaks down, then maybe the gap fill, but things are like we're going to need to definitely reverse and rebuild momentum at that point. It would no longer be a bullish setup unless immediately reclaiming the 200. Unlikely. Could be a liquidity grab though, unknown. So this is a really good spot to be for a bullish setup, right? And now I wanted to draw everybody's attention to Newegg, and we're going to look at some other examples as well. I'll try to pull some up, but this is, my favorite to cherry pick, right? Because you could obviously pull out some examples of the 200 failing, right? And let's maybe look for some of those too, so we're not being too biased. But we see the 2150 reversal. You have the light blue crossing the dark blue. Boom, right here. And then we're pairing that with a key level breakout. Boom, that's through the 200, right? This volumetric candle. Look at this volume here. And then we happen to have a rejection off this buy side liquidity, right? And that's going to send us back into the 21, right? That trend retest off the reversal. Reversal, key level breakout, rejection, trend retest. Perfect. At which point we come back for a secondary retest and then shred up. This goes on a massive run. I think this is about 500%. And then it retraces, and then it goes on, another 400% run, retraces, and then like 40% or something silly, right? Not super important because I'm not, to say that that's what GameStop's going to do is silly, but it's the setup that traders are going to be looking at, right? People who aren't necessarily interested in GameStop to the same degree that we are will see this setup and have seen this setup in their trading history multiple times. And, a lot of the times we do get a nice expansion move. So here, let's just, kind of highlight these things. Our reversal signal is right here. Boom, right? Then we get a volumetric bar, this one right here. This is more volume than any of the others, which breaks that key level, right? Boom. Then we reject off of this local high, right? That key level rejection or buy side into the 21. We get that. Boom. Then it recovers immediately, retaking the 200. And then that secondary test to the 21 or 200 again, right? So reversal, volumetric breakout, key level rejection, into trend, into double trend test. This is the exact same thing that we're seeing here, right? What we've not seen is the absolute shred up. And what really ignites this is the breakout of this previous high, right? We've got this high right here. See how we kind of come up into it, reject. There's some indecision here. But then once it breaks, then it's go time at that point, right? Oops, I lost my Just stopping in to say thank you for the TA. Keep the stream up to support. Appreciate that. I managed it. It's a little bit of a slower day, but people can rewatch, right? So yeah, we have the reversal, and then it's when this breaks is when it really ignites, right? And then we get that initial squeeze move into the trend retracement, and then our secondary squeeze, the big one, right? So, we would be looking on GameStop's behalf, and we'll go to the 4-hour just so we get a better level here. Delete. Right, because I think it's a little bit higher of our key level that we would want to break through. right? We'll go back to the 1 day. You can see it's a little bit higher than the candle because the pre-market. So if we could, retrace into this, and then, this is kind of cool because there's a 4-hour downtrend here, right? And that's its own technical setup, right? And we've kind of gone through that as we've seen it back here, right? This 4-hour downtrend, clearing the resistance, clearing the support into a very nice, parabolic move, right? Then we see that same thing down here where we have this 4-hour downtrend with our resistance, with our resistance here, with our support here. All right, so we break that downtrend and we squeeze into those levels, which is great. At this point, we have that same pattern in a longer time frame, right? So if we can break this downtrend, which I should maybe make a different color, but it's irrelevant. So if we can break this downtrend, this angled red line, and this previous high, we're definitely cooking for a bigger move to the upside. So that's kind of what I'm looking for moving forward, right? And then we can maybe try to, throughout the week, find more examples of this that are good, that are bad. If you have a company that you happen to track, we could take a look at it. Something relevant but not too off base, right? Like the market cap can't be too big or it's going to trade a little different. Let's take a look at PayPal. 40 billion. This is a big company, right? So we have this massive pullback, right? And this must have been squeezing for some reason. And like even look at this one if you wanted to play a reversal signal. And so this is hard. You're just always cherry picking data, right? But reversal, key level, trend retest, away you go, right? Nice big move to the upside off of this 200 EMA reversal, right? Here, not really getting the reversal opportunity because the EMAs are coasting on top of the 200. Like the two blues are not really breaking below the 200 here, right? But they do here. So let's take a look at this one. This one's probably the best one to take a look at. And it could break down, right? So this is actually probably a decent example to look at both of them. So we have our EMA reversal, right? We have our key level breakout. We have our trend retest, and it looks like we're going. And then we have a second trend retest, but it breaks down, right? But then it eventually kind of reclaims right away, does a little squeeze move, but breaks down, right? So a lot of indecision here, and it's not always going to be as cut and dry as the original Newegg example that I've shown here. And we could be forced with prolonged indecision, right? So let's keep that in mind. But even with that, there is still some underlying moves here. Like, this is a 7% move, even a little bit more than that. This is looking like a 10%. And, from the 200 up, another 7%, right? So it's still a signal worth checking, 7% move in a small time frame if you have options off the reversal signal. I mean, these are decent profits, right? They're not going to be like this, though, right? Like this is a reversal here, right? Then we have our key level breakout, trend retest. Here's our second retest to the 200, retest to the 50. These levels can vary. And then really nice move upwards until eventually, coming back down and failing that recovery, right? There must have been some corporate action here, I assume, earnings gap down. And then once we break the 200, really shredding downwards. And then here, reversal signal, no key level breakout. We do get the key level here, but it breaks down, right? Then it breaks down, then it breaks down, and it breaks down. So this is kind of like what I would fear for, right? And then obviously trying to showcase both sides of that example. And PayPal has just been obliterated here as of late, getting absolutely crushed. Let's maybe UPS. Okay, a great example. Reversal signal, key level rejection, breakthrough, holding, right? The 200, then holding the 21, and then, just kind of walking its way up. So that's a pretty decent example. Again, here might be a nice one to cherry pick as well. We do need the EMAs under the 200, right? So some of them are like pretty gross. Like this one barely broke through, then rejected immediately. So we want to avoid that. Zoom, here's another one right in front of our face. Here's a reversal. Here's the key level reclaim. Here's our trend retest, and then the expansion move outwards. Right there, right? The original breakthrough of the 200 after some time, right? And then we kind of seen like our worst case fear here last time, right? Where we did reclaim with that reversal signal. We had our trend retest. We did expand upward. So, you should be scaling out, taking profits, whatever. But, unfortunately, it did crush down on us. And that was, I think, due to the warrant delivery, right? Because you didn't need your shares anymore. Sell your shares, hold your warrants. A lot of people sold their warrants too. So yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of what I'm looking for moving forward. I didn't really pull out examples ahead of time, but it's always going to be the same thing, right? Here's our breakdown. Here's the reversal. Nice expansion move, even though it's like, and the bigger the company you go to look at, less relevant it's going to be, I think, because of the massive market cap. But again, you're breaking down from that 200. Here's your reversal. Here's your reclaim. Here's your retest. Here's your expansion move. Even Target just kind of doing that right now, right? Here's your reversal. Here's your key level. Here's your retest of that key level, right? And then, this is looking like it's in a position to absolutely shred faces to the upside. This looks even better than GameStop because it's got that break of structure, which we're talking about, right? Right here, how we have this key level breakout, then a high that breaks down into trend retest, and then it's when you reclaim and break that high, which we see here, you really could get that upwards move. And to a smaller extent, we had it back here, but we didn't really have the key level here because it rejected, and it didn't really reclaim with confirmation till here. So probably use this level, but nonetheless, we could probably use Target as a leading indicator to GameStop's price action, right? Because if we pull that GameStop here to the bottom, it would appear that this is just, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, like 2 weeks ahead of us, So, maybe keep an eye on that, see how things progress. Aside from that, let's take a look just at GameStop. We'll go to our. I don't think any of this is going to look good, but you got to keep an eye on it, right? So a lot of nothing here, just retracing. Does not look great on the. Oh, this is the 1 minute. I'm on the 1 hour. Why does it look like this? So we see like some clear support here, right? Next week, let's try to see if this holds, and let's try to set a reversal signal locally on the 1 hour, right? We had our EMAs reverse here, plus we lost a key level, right? So just like we do it bullishly, we can do it bearishly. So this looks really bad, right? And we'll need to invalidate this bearish setup. So the price needs to reclaim first 21, but most importantly the 200, and then everything else will just follow. So we'd like to set, a 1 hour bullish reversal. The 4 hour is still bullish, but obviously, looks like there's room to the 200. We just happen to be finding support on our best case as well, which I think was the old 200 on the 1 day, right? This 200 was our best case when we entered the trade, and it just kind of happens to be now as well, going under, but now back to it. And, we're declining here, right? And now we're ascending. So if we can kind of hold this as support, and then, pull that 200 up so it kind of does, take a little bit of a better angle, grab a few more degrees on this puppy, things should be good. To maybe, we're looking at the 1 hour. We can also look at the PMO and the RSI. right? So we're kind of in this downtrend, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 contact points with momentum heading upwards into it again, right? So, if this downtrend can break, right, that's going to be really bullish for us moving forward. What's up, Steven? Happy Valentine's Day, homie. And, that could be the change in state of delivery that we're looking for. On that note, the 1-day PMOs, it's not looking great. It very much looks like it's about to break down. But, I don't typically trade longer time frames, but the 1-week PMO has just reversed bullishly, right? So, if we can hold this for, I don't know, a couple weeks, maybe a month, we could set a long-term PMO reversal, which we've not really done a lot of, right? And typically, like if we just pull down the price action here, when we do set those, right? Those big revert, that's a massive squeeze move, right? When we do set them here, that's preceding this massive squeeze move, right? And even to a certain extent, well, maybe to a far lesser extent, reversal here. This has just kind of led to some consolidation, a higher high nonetheless, but short-lived. So maybe not super great, but that's the, like during seller boxing days. Like this is pre-original squeeze, deep discount days, right? But yeah, so if we can set that reversal on the 1 week, that looks crazy good. Of course, the 1 day doesn't look great, which is going to make that a little bit difficult, but there's a lot of days in a week, right? And then on, that note, if we zoom in further, there's a lot of 4 hours in a 1 day. And this is looking like that retracement is kind of concluding, right? It looks like they're going to start converging on one another. And then we can maybe make another run of it. And we'll first see that in the 1 hour, which has already reversed, but you get a lot of whiplash here, right? A lot of indecision. However, I think if we can reclaim this 1 hour, right? This downtrend here, then we're going to be looking really good there as well, right? And then we can kind of move that back to the 1 day. So momentum, was in decline last week, but I think, this week should be a little bit better. Let's take a look at Max Payne as well. For the 20th at 22. Ooh, that's not great. A lot of 24s, even more 25s. Massive wall at 30 and 31. If you needed to sell calls, go for it. I think that selling calls before a potential bullish corporate catalyst is a little foolish. You're going to have a lot of time to do that after. Also, risk reward seems a little skewed currently, as we're a little bit in the middle, right? So obviously the risk reward would be massively in your favor to sell calls if we're trading above 30, right? So there's very little chance that we remain elevated at those levels, and just raking in premiums. On the opposite side of that, the risk reward is very good, down $20, $21 in this long-term sell side, to buy long calls, right? But to play in the middle, to sell calls at 24 when we can still run to 30 seems a little foolish, very high risk. On that same note, to buy calls when we're at 25 and can potentially fall back to 20 is similarly maybe not the greatest idea. However, if your technicals and your conviction is high, do the best you can do, and no one's ever going to blame you for that. Good luck, right? We want everybody to make money. Again, like I said, though, things couldn't possibly be more bullish for GameStop, which, again, is what presents that opportunity as a call seller. It's not quite as good as I'd like it to be, right? So I don't think like the 27th is going to be, when is the next OPEX? Is it March 20th? The big one? Well, there's 24,000 25s here. And a lot of 30s and very little of anything else, which is kind of crazy. Like you'd expect to see some flow both ways, but this is just a massive, massive call spike here. So, I'm worried that we're locked in at 25 for some time, right? You kind of using that as our rejection point. We get up to 24, 24.85 and reject. However, it takes one tweet, one press release, and then 25 is melted, and all of those now are, instead of acting as resistance, they've been hedged into support. So, we just got to take it day by day, right? If there's any companies that you guys want to look at as an example, feel free. We can pull them up. I'm just looking at 200 reversal signals. This could be a good one, right? What's going on here? So we have a squeeze move, then a massive pullback off of that. Sure, that kind of fits the narrative. Then we have a reversal signal. We have a key level breakout, right? Then we have a trend retest. After that, the rest is history. Expandadelphia into a secondary trend retest way down the line, which holds into a secondary Expandadelphia, right? But it all starts here with this original reversal signal, the 21 crossing the 50, pairing it with a key level breakout, which is the 200, holding that as support on a retest, right? And that's exactly what we're looking at here. We have our reversal signal, boom, right here, right here. We have our 200 breakthrough, right here, right here. We have our trend retest, right here, right here. And then, so I would not want to sell calls in front of this potential technical pattern, which I've seen play out hundreds of times. And I'm sure we will continue to see that. Of course, that is my bullish bias speaking, and it could break down. We've kind of taken a look at a few examples there as well. But, this is another good one, right? So here's our reversal signal off of a massive pullback, right? Long term. So squeeze, big old pullback, reversal signal, key level breakout, trend retest, reclaim 1, trend retest 2, and hold, and then expand, right? This we can't really count because the EMAs are above the 200. Here, that doesn't really make sense either because the reversal is just so fast. And then it's, maybe you can set up for another potential one coming forward, but it's these moves. And if, we zoom out, you kind of see that, right? When we break the 200, lots of times, we break it with gusto. And this isn't GameStop exclusivity. This isn't solely because Kitty came back. Did it exacerbate the whole situation? Absolutely. Not to discredit that at all. But was it a necessity? No. These moves, like where was Kitty here, right? This is a freaking massive run from $4 all the way up to 57. So these things will happen with or without the social aspect to it, but it can definitely increase, its strength. So that's kind of what I'm looking for moving forward. Like I said, Monday's a holiday. President's Day would be a great day for Jamaica, right? To kind of introduce itself, if it wanted to. If not, that's fine. There's how many days till earnings? 45 days until earnings. So, TikTok goes the clock as that becomes much more relevant. It's still too early to be sizing in with any earnings play calls, right? However, there's not that many days from now until I would, right? Like 20 days until earnings. I'm definitely looking. I'm definitely shopping pricing. The 14 to 10 day mark, I'm probably starting to shop and sizing in. 5 days, 7 to 5 days till earnings. I'm continuing to load up. At which point, it's just a couple days till earnings, maybe one last purchase, and then we're scaling out before the call happens, before the market closes on the day of earnings, to make sure that we are locking our profits, because you never know, right? You never know. We could dump on earnings or we could skyrocket, right? But if we are in the game risk-free, right? We, size in with, let's say $1,000, for example, right? And then we happen to pull out $1,400 in profit, and we still have 10, 15% of our size of our options contracts still in the market. And we're already profitable. We've already pulled out our initial capital. And then the risk doesn't really matter to us, right? They could go to zero. They could get absolutely melted. We're still a winner, right? Or GameStop could squeeze off earnings. I don't know, gap up a bunch, and haha, we've magnified our profits with our runners, which is how we want to continue to run our plays moving forward, right? It's the same. Ryan should have scaled Bitcoin at 120. Well, I don't know why he didn't, but it's okay. Scaling your trades, dollar cost averaging in and out is the way. The textbooks don't say that for their own good. They say it for yours. Take a look at some quantum companies, maybe. I bet those 200 reversals are hot. Yeah, I mean, like I said, you could cherry pick this all day. And here's a good example of where it breaks down. Here's our reversal. Here's our key level reclaim. Here's our trend retest. New highs, absolutely, sure. That's awesome. This is when I was trading it originally. LOL. I like to be in early. What can I say? Early bird gets the worm. We did so well on quantum last Christmas. It was the Christmas before last Christmas, I guess, at this point, some time ago. We've been in the market a long time. I don't know if you know this. Reversal signal, trend retest, new high, but it broke down. That's again what we want to avoid. This is what we want to have happen: is reversal signal, reclaim, trend retest, and away we go, and away we go, and away we go, right? And then hold that trend for a long period of time. Eventually breaking down, sure, I get it. The market looks weak, but maybe a decent buying opportunity here. GameStop could go quantum. That definitely was shaping up to be, a sector run recently, and still has. Like if you look at all of them across the board, they've all been doing, what did this do? 1,200%, then 7,000%. It's crazy moves, right? What is that? 2,200%. They're just ridiculous, right? So, like I said, and there's no tangible revenue here, right? This is all just kind of hype. People want to talk about the AI bubble, but quantum bubble is definitely there as well. This, I think, because there's so much money in AI that it bleeds over. That AI companies are kind of like investing in quantum as well, right? So, maybe something that GameStop can take a look at as far as a sector. I love this because this is treating me so well, as opposed to moon mining, right? I don't really care for, I call it moon mining because that's, I'm sure, where it ends up. But space delivery, I think at this point they're just, delivering payloads, satellites, things like that. I don't know. I'm far less intrigued by that. However, once moon mining kicks off, I think that's going to be a pretty cool sector as well. But, that's maybe a decade into the future. I don't really know. Sometime. And I'm always, maybe I think that's something we could do as well, is build a custom portfolio for GameStop, right? Why not? Give a little inspiration, right? Because if we're buying, no disrespect, but if we're buying crypto at 100K, watching it go to 120K, making a tweet about it, laughing, and then holding it down to 60K, I could provide some service. I'm not even I making those plays. Oh, Lee Ryan, what did Michael Saylor say to you? But and on that note, I'm equally as scared that we're selling it now at the bottoms. Did GameStop buy crypto at its high and sell its low? Oh my God, what an absolute nightmare this is. So the investments we make moving forward are important. We can't just laugh them off and be ultra bullish on them, even though we want to be, right? Like Bitcoin's a very good example of that. Let's take a good hard look at everything, make sure it's appropriate, and manage that risk, right? Protect our profits, scale out accordingly. I'm sure this comes back and will be green, but it's some pain that could have been avoided, right? So yeah, that's kind of really all I have for you guys today. If you have any questions, I'll let the stream kick here for 5 minutes while you get them in, and we can answer them. But I got a hot date with your mother this evening, so I need to get ready for that. Yeah. I'm looking for this. Oh, I'm looking for specifically because it's President's Day and G-America, right? It would be perfect. It would be perfect, but it is what it is, right? I'm sure nothing comes of it. It's a holiday. We all hang out with some long calls that are just theta decay, theta decay, theta decay, and well, that is what it is, right? Institutions loading up. Good to see some of them selling, but whatever. It is what it is. So, again, thank you all so much for watching. If there's no questions, we're going to end it here. And, drop in the Discord. If you're just showing up, rewatch the video. We touched on a couple things. And we're going to take it slow, right? We're going to take it nice. And obviously, these things could happen and unfold very quickly. And, yeah, I'm game for that. But always trying to take a longer approach to everything here. So, thank you so much. Have a great day, and I will see you all Monday. Oh, sorry, not Monday. He just finished. It's a holiday. It's merger day. We'll see you Tuesday for some hopefully price improvement. But if not, I have my eyes set to the following Friday, the 13th, which is a couple weeks away. And at that point, maybe we're looking for an earnings play. Maybe someone else is looking for an earnings play too. Wouldn't that be curious? All right. Take care, everyone. Thanks again.